Hey everyone, Brendan Snyder here. How are you? Thanks so much for joining me and welcome to a special review for the brand new Green Day Warning 25, originally released in 2000, now celebrating its 25th anniversary. It was their sixth studio album at the time, now expanded to a 4 CD clamshell style box. I'm going to do a full review unboxing of this in just a bit. But before we start, if you're new to my channel and you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please do leave a comment, hit like. All those things do help support my channel. I'd greatly appreciate it. And of course, as an added bonus, by turning on notifications, you'll never miss an episode and stay up to date on cool things like this, where we're talking about the brand new Green Day Warning 25, so deluxe edition box set of this album. Now, the band itself formed in 1987 and released two independent albums before they released their major label debut, Dookie, in 1994, which proved to be a huge breakthrough for not only the band, but also just mainstream punk rock music returning. They popularized it. The album itself would go on to sell a massive 20 million copies just in the US alone. The follow-up to Dookie, though, Insomniac in 1995 and then Nimrod in 1997, didn't really set the world on fire in the same way, though both albums would go on to sell 2 million copies. And Nimrod did have sort of a surprise sleeper hit on it with Good Riddance, Time of Your Life. That was their first ballad. So 3 years on from Nimrod, we then get Warning in 2000. Unfortunately, it's the band's lowest selling album since their debut in 1990. The Warning has only been certified gold for 500,000 copies, 500,000 in the US. And that's not to say the album isn't worthy of celebrating, because the album itself is really a good album. I just think the market was oversaturated at the time with that sort of pop punk sound that Green Day had made popular, and it was very hard for the band to sort of find traction with what they were doing. They did put out 3 singles, all of which not so much, maybe the most popular ones off the album or the best ones off of the album. Minority was a good first single to drop, but Warning and then Waiting off of the album, I do think there were better tracks on here. They did not or chose not to release Macy's Day Parade as a single, which was really the sort of ballad follow-up to Good Riddance. It was more produced, and maybe they just didn't want to look like they were copying themselves. Although had they done it, they might have had a hit on their hands. They've always been a band to sort of buck the system, and I quite think that that's what this album was trying to do. Now, of course, following Warning, the band bounced back with American Idiot in 2004, opening the band up to an entirely new, younger audience and going on to sell 6 million copies. So we don't have to worry about the band. They've certainly managed to hang on to success and reclimb the mountain, so to speak. But we're here to talk about this cool box set, which is continuing on. They did one for Dookie. I've also got the one for American Idiot, where it was celebrating its 20th anniversary, a really great one. And I have since picked up Nimrod as well. I believe those 3 are the ones that the band has done so far. And of course, now we're getting this one here. So the original album, 12 tracks on it, 41 minutes of music. We're now celebrating its 25th anniversary with this. It's a 4 CD box set. So let's kind of go through it while we're talking about it. I mentioned that it's a clamshell style box. So first of all, what's great is we get all of the material written right on the back side of it there. So I don't have to leave the discs out if I don't want to. The clamshell style open like a clam. That's why they call it that. And right on the front of this thing, we see that it comes with a cool set of buttons, a little button pack for you guys, nicely sealed up. Fortunately, these did not damage anything on the inside. Sometimes when we get these packages, the buttons, those back sides of the buttons do that. We don't have that issue here. We get a really great Warning Green Day button, or patch, I should say. A little sticker included in it as well. And I did want to show you guys the hype sticker. I love keeping these things, and I keep mine inside. I don't know if that comes through clear enough to pause on, but I like to keep it inside the box. I'm going to come back to the booklet. The booklet itself, I believe, is 30 pages. And then we get 3 discs on the inside, or 3 holders of discs, but it's 4 CDs total. And so there's our album. They do reproduce that with the same art on it. A little different from what's on the cover though, and I like that they do that. These are just in the sleeves. There's no special holders, but the way that they do this is like a double-lined cardboard. So these are very thick and weighty. They're not cheap cardboard. I like when a band does that. The one I want to really talk to you about before I get into things like the booklet and some other stuff is disc 2 that's in here, demos, B-sides, and rarities. So this one here is what I bought it for. It's got 8 demos on it. 2 alternate mixes, Waiting and Macy's Day Parade, have the Otis mix. There are 3 outtakes that later appear on Shenanigans in 2002. Outsider, which is a Ramones cover song, Scumbag, and Suffocate. Then there's 1 outtake that I couldn't find it having turned up anywhere, so maybe that is the one lone unreleased track. Don't Want to Know If You Were Lonely. That's a Husker Du cover song. And 2 tracks that would later appear on International Super Hits in 2001, which was their first Best Of collection. Maria, there's an early version here, and Pop Rocks and Coke. So that's what you're getting on this. And even though that most of that stuff was released in other ways, I don't know if those demos, because there's 12 songs to the album, but we only get 8 demos. I've always been curious when that sort of happens. Does that mean the other 4 songs were written in the studio and so no demo existed? But all in all, it does make for a really interesting listen, and I like that they collected together all the material onto that disc, giving us sort of a full picture of what's going on. All right, the other one, this one has 2 discs in it, and so this is Live in Tokyo, and it is a complete live show spread across 2 CDs, 1 disc in the front and 1 in the back. I'm only gonna pull the one. Well, I'll pull it both out. Why not? Let's just see. There we go. So it is a 2-disc set that's in there, so you are still getting your 4 discs. And 21 songs included on this unreleased live show. The band previously released a live EP called Tune in Tokyo in 2001. And I initially thought this might be from that, but that has songs that are taken from Sendai, Japan, March 13th, 16th, and 22nd of 2001. This live show here, though, is recorded March 18th at Makuhari Mesa, Japan, and so not duplicating the material that you already got. So if you have that EP, you're not duplicating something with this. I was a little worried about that at first, and I'm really glad and happy to say that that is a standalone thing in this box set. And I kind of think that's the meat and potatoes, what most people would be buying this for. Now I mentioned we get a 30-page book in here as well. Lots of cool photos, and they do get into, talking about the album, the recording, the making, what was going on, their mindsets, that kind of stuff. So it's a nice read to have while you're going through all this stuff. It's kind of, it's very in-depth, and that's the cool part. Getting something, you also then get all the lyrics and stuff like you got with the original album. So that is all inside here. And you also get information on your demos and your B-sides and your live show and all of that. So a lot of good information included in that box set for you guys. All right, so sort of bottom line on this thing. Despite the album not being one of their most successful albums, I think it stands up quite well 25 years on, mostly just as one complete work. Not having a certain song or anything on it that jumps out, because none of those really became hits for the band. Certainly not in the way that Nimrod had Good Riddance. All in all, though, I think the album is a solid album. So worthy of the box set, absolutely. It's the bonus content, though, really, that is what I think people are going for here. And even though most of this stuff is collected together and it has been released in other formats in different ways, it's nice having it all together to give a more complete, full picture of the story of the album Warning. And then to get the complete unreleased live show, that in and of itself, again, think warrants this box set. And the band is performing totally on par. They're firing on all cylinders. They sound great in that live show. Totally worthwhile. Don't know why we didn't get that full live show back then, but I love that those kind of things are finally being released now, the way that they're coming out. And so, all in all, I do think that this box set is very well done. It's cost effective too. Anyone out there pre-order it on Amazon like I did and get it for $17? I have no idea why or how the price was that low on it, but that has happened a few times, so I really scored big on a 4 CD box set for $17. And I think the regular asking price is around $50 on the thing, and it's probably jacked back up somewhere in that range. But all in all, it's still, even at a $50 price for 4 CDs, I think totally worthwhile and would highly recommend it to all Green Day fans to check this out. Warning 25. And there you go. That is my review of this box set. If you guys chose to pick it up, weigh in. Let me know your thoughts on it. How do you feel about that live show? Do you like having all that rarities, B-sides, demos collected now into one place? I myself am a completist and love having full context around albums. And so these kind of box sets do that. They make me very happy. I hope they make you just as happy. All right, everyone, take care. Have a good one, and I'll talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.